Hello and welcome to another Roblox tutorial with me, Terry Shelley. In today's tutorial, we're going to be following this tutorial from the Roblox wiki to make an explosion course. What it says here is it will make an explosion-filled gauntlet using for loops and random numbers. So it says the first thing to do is build the course that the player will run through and include a spawn location. So if we go back to the Roblox window, I've moved the Explorer and Properties windows around because I noticed on the last playback from the last video that couldn't really see the script that I was using, and that was the most important, the script I was typing. At least I couldn't see the bottom part. So I'm hoping this will be better, but we'll have a look. So let's just pick a plain old base plate to start. Lovely. I'm going to generate some terrain. I'm not good at it, as you know, so let's make it small. Let's have a little I don't want caves, so just sorry for this, you're going to terrain and generate. So small, a biome size, I don't know, map size, biome size, we'll go for medium. Plains, hills, we will have water, lavascape. So it would be water, plains and hills, mountains and lavascape. That seems like that would be enough. And here it comes. Still looks a bit base platey. Okay, maybe I should have started on a grassy mount. Ooh, I'm completely through the world. Okay, what does it look like from here? Oh, that water is just completely wrong. But actually, this will do for us. This element here, for the purposes of this tutorial, you can sort of see a natural crevice in the ground. That would be perfect for the obstacle course. So we'll start here. We'll keep it as this. So to generate a spawn location, you need to go back into home, use the toolbox, and just type in spawn in models. Actually, use the Roblox sets option, and then you get the spawn locations the Roblox have provided. So if you have a neutral spawn, you just click on it and drag it. I want it sort of there. So for the minute, let's just test that. I just want to show you that it means my player will appear on the spawn location. And then, yeah, this is annoying me there. See if we can pop it there. Let's see if we can pop that there. Right. Okay, so there you can see player running. Okay, actually run the wrong way, but that's great. Okay. So we have our spawn location for there. So what happens next? It says the important feature of this course is that it's filled with parts where we want explosions to occur, and each of these parts needs to be named explosion part and needs to be directly inside the workspace. So, okay, let's create those first. So go back to Roblox. In workspace, right click and say insert part. And then I'm going to right click. No, let's rename it first. Rename explosion part, and then I'm gonna duplicate, and I'm just gonna do 4 for the purposes of this video so that we can test it really easily. So there they are, these explosion parts lying here on that on the course. that one, and that one. Lovely. Okay, so there's our course. Let's straighten that spawn location a little. Oh, why won't you move? Yeah, on a bit of a... Right, that's fine. Okay, so we've got these parts and they're called explosion parts. And they're all sitting within the workspace. So the next thing we do is add a script, put it in script service and add a code. And this is the code. So let's go back, let's scroll down to script service, move that up there just in case. So there's script service, insert object, oops, insert object, stay open, script, a nice big script window now, and there it is. So what that script says, says we're going to have something called explosion. Here is we're going to create an explosion instance new using what Roblox already provides. You see it in the parentheses here, the words explosion. It knows what to do when you see those words. And it's going to be located within game workspace. That's fine, makes sense. But we need to tell them, as it says here then, that just creates an explosion. But where are they going to explode? And you could do something like this. So let's copy and paste this code and then have a look at it, see if I understand it. So we've got the first line is the same, but then the second line says explosion position is going to be in game workspace explosion part position. So it's going to be in the same position as the explosion part. Okay. So it says that would center the explosion on one of the parts we inserted earlier. Now don't forget we got 4. But this code just creates one explosion and we want all the parts that we named explosion part to explode. So we've got to have a loop, a generic for loop. A generic for loop can be used in various ways. One way is to cycle through a group of objects and do something to each one. So that's what they're going to do. So it needs to use this sort of code. So we'll just copy and paste it over again and see if we understand it. So it says children equals game workspace, get children, and then 2 brackets. And as I understand it, what that does is it says look at game workspace and look at its children. And that means all the objects that are sitting within the workspace category. So look at all of them. And then for, and then there's a line and a comma, and that's almost like each, I think, for each child in I pairs children. I don't fully know what that means, but I'm getting it to be for every child within workspace, we got to do there, and then it says explosion, instance new, explosion, and then explosion position, child position. So even just me looking at that, I think the problem with that would be it would look within workspace and there's more children within workspace than just explosion part. There's too many children there, if you like, the terrain, spawn location, camera. I can see that it's going to need something that checks for a child in workspace that's called explosion part and only attaches the explosion to that. So going back to the wiki, it does say that it would create an error because get children returns all the children. So instead, we need some sort of conditional statement. So it gives the code. So I'll do what I usually do, cut and paste it over. So the same thing, get the children from the workspace for each child. If the child's name equals explosion part, then, and the rest of the code says attach the explosion to it. Okay, that does make sense to me. And it says now the code will run and make an explosion in all the correct places. Okay, I wonder what that would look like. Let's just test that then. Let's go over to base plate, test, play. I think it happened before I saw it. Stop. Let's look at it the right way. Play again. I think they just explode in the distance. Yeah, you can just about catch it. So the wiki says that's not very exciting. So it introduces a while true loop and a wait. So the code now, bring it over, is so get the children while true, find each child in pairs. If the child is called explosion part, then create an explosion and put that explosion in the same position as the part. Okay. And this means, I don't know what that means really. I'm not sure while true do. Does that mean it's just ongoing explosions? Again, let's nip back and test it to see what that looks like. Oh yeah, while true, and there's nothing to turn that statement false. So instead we've just got this wild sequence of explosions. Cool. But that's not really a game. So further down the wiki, it says, right now the explosion part creates an explosion in every loop, but let's add a random element so that only some parts explode. So firstly, let's move our explosion code into a function, as we'll be adding more to it, and we don't want the code in the loop to be hard to read. And I know that's something that you should do if you're getting a little unwieldy with your code, is sort of pull it all together within a function. So the function is going to be called explode part, and that's got the create the explosion and attach it to the part. The actual instructions are find the children while true, create while true, find the children with the name explosion part, then run the function explode part, and the part would be the child of that. Okay, let me try and get my head around that again. So the first bit is look at the workspace, look at the children of workspace, find any named explosion part, and for each one of those, run the function explode part against the child of the workspace. So we go back up to explode part, and now that sort of is the parameter in the brackets called part, and in this case now we've said the function applies to the child of workspace that is called explosion part, fine. And so for each of those, create an explosion and let that be in the parts position. Okay, I think I get that. But that's what I was going to say, and it says here in the wiki, the code will run no differently from before, it's just better organised. So I thought that I was just going to still have this sort of ongoing sequence of explosions. But it says, now let's make a random number to determine if we make an explosion run or not. And you do a random number with number equals math.random 1, 3, which I think gives you a random number, between something between the two numbers in the parentheses. So in that case, a number between 1 and 3. So the entire code would look like this. So function explode part, but this time it adds a number. So get a number using math random between 1 and 3. If the number is 1, then do all of those explosions. And the code is saying ongoing, keep checking this. So because while true, keep doing this. So while true, keep finding the explosion part and running the function explosion part, but actually only cause the explosion if the number is 1. Okay, let's have a look at this. So that one exploded, those 3, 2 in the middle keep exploding. Now third one, I haven't seen this first one explode. When are you going to, hey, finally. So you can see the randomness of that. Great. Okay, and now it says there's no indication to a player that a given part is about to explode. So let's add some code that turns parts red before they explode. So once again, well, in fact, let's copy and paste the entire finished version and then we'll go through it. I find it easier to look at this code within Roblox. So we've got our function explode part. And again, we've got a condition here now. If the part's brick color is red, then it will explode the part. And the part will, the explosion will be on the part position. But it will also turn the brick color white. If the brick color isn't red, it will look for a number between 1 and 3. If it's 1, it'll turn it red. And then, of course, if it's red, the earlier bit of the function happens, that it explodes it and turns it white. And then when it's white, it'll be sort of like the object of the random maths bit of the function. And the minute we have a 1, it'll go red. So you can understand that there's 2 bits going on here. Turning the brick red to explode, then turning it with a number, and then turning it white when it doesn't explode, and then once it hits the number 1, turning it red again for the explosion. That makes sense to me. But let's have a test. So yeah, red explodes. This is white. Now it's red and exploding. Let's have a run up. Yeah, so if this was in a game, you would know, oh, back away, back away, back away. You'd know to move away from that area. So you could imagine maybe creating something where there are large areas of land that are one colour and you can walk on them, and then they turn another colour and they explode, and you've got you know, a short period of time to run off the colour that's going to explode. I could see how something like that could work. Okay, and that's it. That's the end of this tutorial. So that's quite interesting, really. I could see how you could do something with that, and I think I understand how the code worked. And in fairness, it does actually work once I put it into practice. Okay, so that's quite a quick tutorial. We're working our way through the wiki. I mean, obviously these aren't my tutorials. These are me using the tutorials on the wiki to see how easy they are to follow, to see how good they are, in the sense of, you know, are they things that look good once you've done it and would be something you could use in a game. And, you know, maybe at the end of all this, I'll know enough to be able to create a game. That's the plan anyway. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.